The brand new Cherry Grove is an absolute treasure trove of brand new blocks and items. All of these can be had if you please, and all you've got to do is type in a seed with the cherry blossom biome. Here is a particular example which I found hilarious because as you can see it is the tiniest cherry grove, but if you just want the wood and you don't care about the biome, here is a great example. If you do want the biome and you want it even closer to spawn, here is one you can literally spawn in, but if you want the most stunningly bizarre cherry blossom seed, then here is precisely that. As you can see, there is a near infinite seeming amount of cherry blossom right here. It is absolutely beautiful to look at, and although you could say it's near infinite, you could also say there is precisely 8 of it because it works that way too. I've never seen such weird generation in any seed, but it particularly happens to be unique because it is in a cherry blossom grove biome, and look at this. This is just telling you to go and build something right here. So let's talk about precisely what that should be and why, and what this really offers you as a survival player. Although if you wanted to experience this in creative, I think it'd be immediately obvious what it's offering you. So first things first, the seed, type it in and you'll spawn right over here. It will be very close to 0, which is always nice. By the way, whenever I show off seeds on this channel, it will work for both Java and Bedrock, but the structures will be specific to Bedrock where I am showing off the seeds. But if you just want the cherry blossom grove biome, that will spawn right here, as you can see, regardless of which platform you're on. So I really love this as a spawn point. Everyone loves the plains biome. It gives you good animals, and also you've got good access to trees if you want them, which is pretty standard, but having access to this type of tree certainly is not. But this is not the fry we're going to be fishing. This is not the fish we're going to be frying. You know, we're also not going to be fishing for fries though, but instead I recommend going up this mountain found just over here. In fact, I recommend doing this on just about any brand new seed you try out. If you want to get a decent vantage point, going up high is a really great place to do that. And yeah, you'll see looking at this seed some very odd things. It's a plains biome, but found with a lot of erosion. In layman's terms, that is a biome that is known for being flat, that is incredibly hilly, which is really fun because it means the base terrain is incredibly hilly, which leads to a lot of very interesting things. One of those is a lot more mountains than you'd usually encounter. Wow, isn't this absolutely fascinating? But the second is the fact that you're going to be finding a lot of a biome which only spawns in the hills, the cherry grove biome. So that is found right over here, and my god, is this an interesting cherry grove. But first, I want to see whatever's going on over here. This is the weirdest looking mountain I've seen in a while. It's a snowy peaks biome that goes right down to the ground for the, for the water right here, which is really, really cool to see. I love stark cliffs. You can see the same things happening over here, but in this case, it's actually leading into a cave, which is even cooler looking. Look what a fascinating entrance to a cave that is. And indeed, if you look around the rest of this seed, you'll see there's lots of interesting mountains. High erosion leads to that. It means even the sunflower plains biomes are also found on these steeps, and it also means that we can find a bunch of plains village biomes, but they're not going to necessarily be in the flattest of places. This one is partially in a lake, and the one on the other side of this cherry grove biome, which is a nice big one by the way, is found also very much hilly. It's partially in the meadow, partially in the plains, and it just leads to a very interesting vertical, which you don't always get from normal villages. But the one which, but the cherry grove, which is absolutely the star of the show, is this one found just over here. So you are, again, like there's a small distance involved from spawn. It's a really interesting distance. You come across a lot of fascinating stuff, but this cherry grove biome is probably the one that a lot of people are going to be interested in because it is a big cherry grove formed in kind of an oval formation. There is a line in the middle right there, but you can see even there it kind of goes downwards. It's a cherry grove that spawns in a position that makes this possible. The infinite cherry grove biome, although again, very much not infinite. These are a rare biome. It's rare to find one that's this big and covers so much land. And what's also rare is finding not 1, not 2 villages next to it, but 3. This is a great place to build if you want an interesting place surrounded by mountains, surrounded by hills, surrounded by cherry, but it's also a really interesting place to build as a survival player if you want to kind of have a secluded base. People aren't going to naturally walk past this because they're going to see the cherry groves around it instead. It is fully secluded on all sides, which is very, very rare for Minecraft terrain to do. It's also, for a lot of people, this might be your first real experience with building in a confined space. When you see how certain real towns deal with being so penned in, seeing it in Minecraft can't help but fill you with inspiration. And yeah, this is a really interesting just in case of one. It's also just for the survival. You know, the explorer in me has to say, wow, there's open exposed caves of dripstone in. That's always fun. You can get your lava farm moving very quickly. Super interesting. What I also have to say, because it fascinates me, is, okay, I mean, besides the second opening over here, very cool. How often do you get to see a cherry tree literally 2 blocks from a dripstone? You know, not biomes you'd expect to see together. One is famous for being very high up, one famous for being very low down. But speaking of being very famous of being low down, this is not the last bit of cherry grove for this world. So here's the interesting thing about cherry groves. They can spawn in lots of places, but only when the terrain leads them up high, which leads to these weird channels being potentially formed. In this case, we have not just the one in the middle of the biome, but this one between 2 different parts of it right here, and then you get this big blob of cherry grove right here. So this cherry grove is notable. Actually, wait, this cherry grove just to the edge here is notable for having a ruined portal in it. If you haven't seen this fun combination of pink, other pink, and 2 types of red, it's very interesting to see. But the other thing that's interesting to see is what is in this cherry grove biome that I was kind of leading you to before, because as you can see, there's big caves that will lead you down. You could follow those down a bunch if you wanted to, but what you would find is kind of shocking, because this is a brand new biome kind of known for its friendliness, and straight down below this, if you just dig down pretty much anywhere below this cherry grove biome, you find yourself through a bunch of cave systems. But do you know what you find below all of that? That is right, an ancient city. A lot of players still haven't faced one of these in survival since 1.19, and kind of understandably, so if you want to experience the 1.20 new biome while still taking advantage of 1.19's, this is a great way to do that. In fact, there is a new piece of trim specifically found here and only here, so you can actually get rewarded quite well for this, and it just happens to be below the cherry grove biome. It's an absolutely huge one too. I mean, I think they're all absolutely huge. Like, trying to say this is big or small for an ancient city is kind of hard to say, but it does connect into a lot of caves, and you can find your way here if you just check around a bunch of caves. And honestly, I feel like you could spend forever just looking around these things. I mean, just look at all the diamond ore you find in the air here. Okay, there's another one over there. You can see how this biome is basically set out to help you do that. These feel like tunnels built specifically for the elytra, and yeah, there's a whole underworld underneath what is otherwise. Actually, wait, do you see that? Was that some emeralds? Yeah, that was some emerald. There's a whole underworld underneath this biome because, yeah, a cherry grove technically counts as a mountain, which means you will find the ancient city more, which means you will find the deep dark more, which means you will find emerald ore. And honestly, look how far we traveled. We went all the way from our cherry grove biome over there, all the way over to here. In what must be the tiniest snowy grove I've ever seen. Look at this. This doesn't count as a mountain, does it? This is a world filled to the brim with natural beauty. This is a world filled to the brim with the pinkest tree in the world. And if you want to commit a genocide against those trees, then this is the place to come, because there's a near infinite amount of them, so you basically can't do it. I do have to say, this is one of the most bizarre formations of a biome so far, but ultimately that's the thing about Minecraft, right? If you check out enough seeds, you will find enough interesting things, and that includes whatever this is. From this angle, it looks like a horse head, right? Can you all see that? Like that's or like a unicorn with like the little horn up there. You can all see that, right? Anyway, yeah, it's a fun biome. Check it out. Lots of villagers, a deep dark, and a little patch near spawn to keep you occupied. What more could you ask for besides a unicorn? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, because I'll see you for the next Seed Sunday. Goodbye.